Oh, hey guys, how are you doing? Today I thought I would talk about the paradox of tolerance, or I think it's better to actually call it inclusion because this is the theory of inclusion in practice. And we're going to look at a pretty good video. So this is the idea in a nutshell. It basically says that you shouldn't tolerate people who are intolerant because you kind of end up with a situation where tolerance is destroyed if you tolerate people who aren't tolerant. What all that word salad basically means is you need to exclude people, and the number of people who need to be excluded increases almost exponentially with the amount of people that you have gathered together. And I'm going to show you a really good example of this from the Democratic Socialists of America, because they have the most beautiful example. So, okay, just to go over this very, very briefly, what we would typically term tolerance or inclusion would generally mean that everybody would be included. So whether you're right or left, whether you are more conservative or liberal, or, you know, whatever your views happen to be, in a free democracy, everybody should be tolerated and respected and should be given the opportunity to participate in the democracy, because that's the whole freaking point. Even if you have repugnant views, when you air those views to the public, you're basically kind of almost doing a referendum on yourself and on your views. And if the general public reject your ideas, that's actually great sometimes, because it means that we can, you know, have a real discussion about this kind of stuff. Anyway, let's watch the video, and I might pause it a few times. So this video is called What a Democratic Socialist Convention is Like, and this was from 2019, so it's a little while ago, but this is actually inclusion in action. Okay, so we're going to start looking at the video. I might pause it a few times.
Great. Right.
Quick point of privilege. Quick point of personal privilege.
Yes.
So they say a quick point of personal privilege. I guess they think that, you know, you're given a sort of privileged status if you get to speak, and yeah, I guess they're trying to normalize the word or something.
Guys, first of all, James Jackson, Sacramento, he, him. I just want to say, can we please keep the chatter to a minimum? I'm one of the people who's very, very prone to sensory overload. There's a lot of whispering and chatter going on. It's making it very difficult for me to focus. Please, can we just, I know we're all fresh and ready to go, but can we please just keep the chatter to a minimum? It's affecting my ability to focus. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade.
Okay, so you may be noticing that people are kind of waving their hand in the air. That's because clapping is considered not exactly far right, not exactly extreme, but this is part of a purity spiral, right? So if you don't know what a purity spiral is, imagine a shell, okay? And I don't know if you've ever seen a shell, but a lot of shells kind of get smaller and smaller as they kind of approach the middle of the shell. And equally, the more pure a group becomes, the fewer people are actually included. And this is what is called by inclusion. You basically have to accommodate everybody on the far left, everybody who is in any way different. You need to accommodate everybody, which is kind of impossible. Like this guy says, can you not talk? Can you not chatter? Can you not whisper? Because I can't concentrate with all that noise going on. So everybody has to basically follow a rule that accommodates this guy, because that is inclusive. And of course, they'll say anybody who doesn't follow the rule is the enemy, whoever the enemy has to be. Like I said, sometimes they'll call them far right, or they'll call them, you know, wicked conservatives, or a Trump lover, or I don't know, whatever the heck it has to be. In the UK, we have the don't kiss a Tory thing, and, you know, there's the whole puncher, you know, bad person, and all of that good stuff. So yeah, of course, the bad people are now anybody who whispers.
Okay, is there a speaker against name, chapter, pronoun?
Point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Okay.
Quick point of privilege once again.
So again, the guy's saying don't use gendered language. So anybody who uses wicked gendered language like mother or father are not being inclusive. They are being trans-exclusionary, perhaps. They're not being inclusive of all different people and all their pronouns and everything else. And, you know, the wicked host is clearly trying her best to be fair. But, you know, the audience here is so pure in each of their own different directions that they can't tolerate even someone saying, ladies and gentlemen. That will be triggering to them. And I mean that literally triggering.
Quick point of privilege once again. Hi, James Jackson, Sacramento DSA, he, him. I have already asked people to be mindful of the chatter of their comrades who are sensitive to sensory overload, and that goes double for the heckling and the hissing. It is also triggering to my anxiety. Like, the be comradely isn't just for, like, you know, let's keep things civil or whatever. It's so that people aren't going to get triggered and so that it doesn't affect their performance as a delegate, okay? Your need to express yourself is important, but your need to express yourself should not trump or over, like...
I see that no one's clapping for me. It could...
Again, so the guy's saying, look, comply with my rules because I am the purest person here. I'm the biggest victim, and this guy's going to say, yeah, nobody should clap because that's what the far right do, the wicked far right. You know, the kind of evil far right that our Prime Minister came out and denounced recently when they went on a march against some children who were being killed. You know, those kinds of people, the wicked far right who we hear so much about, who probably don't really exist, to be fair. I mean, there are people who are far right, but, you know, these kind of people categorize everybody who isn't, like, an ally as far right. Okay.
Could be because I'm not engaging, but it also is because everyone's doing this. And that's really important because those loud bursts of noise, even though this is a noisy space, when we can do something like reducing that, that's really important. So please don't clap, shoot up these. We have a lot of disabled comrades, and a lot of those are invisible disabilities. You don't know who it is that is having a more difficult time navigating this space, and this space was not created with all of their needs in mind. So it's up to us to modify that space to make sure that everybody is able to move in the ways that they need to move.
I think what he said is actually really important. So he's kind of making an almost classical argument that the world wasn't built to accommodate everybody, and therefore we all need to sacrifice a little bit. You know, we don't clap, we don't make too much noise, we don't wear perfume, for example. That's going to be another issue that comes up here. People who wear perfume can cause damage to people with, you know, hypersensitivity. And see what I mean about the purity spiral? I mean, are you a person who never uses perfume or aftershave? Are you a person who never claps? Are you a person who would never ever use gendered language? Because if you want to be a good and inclusive comrade, you need to do all these things. And you need to do, like, so many other things. In fact, there's so much stuff to do, it is literally impossible. And even if you did all this stuff, someone might say you shouldn't yell because yelling can trigger me, and I had, you know, trauma from being yelled at years ago and you are upsetting me. So again, I think some of these people who are sort of raising their voices, they're not being good comrades. And why do they use the term comrade? Well, because they're socialists and they believe in a sort of, you know, massive state-funded enterprise where everybody's looked after, you know, basically like their children. But yeah, I mean, good friggin' luck to them, man.
And additionally, with the noise issue, like, avoid hissing, avoid waving banners, right? Because there's all sorts of things. If you don't know what to do, show up these, right? I'm sure there's lots of ways that we can communicate to each other without needing to rely on something that's going to hurt somebody else. We have quiet rooms that are available. There's a range of options of these, right? Please don't go in that space with anything that's like an aggressive scent, for instance, right? Because we don't want to put people in stressful situations that...
See what I mean about the aggressive scent thing? I mean, I had watched this before, but again, if you are wearing like aftershave or something, then, you know, you might be hurting your comrades. And because we are inclusive, anybody who wears aftershave is probably a far right, bigot, evil, you know, person from the, you know, Trump supporting ultra MAGA people, you know, if you wear aftershave. Okay, this is a bit of a silly example, but this is where inclusion leads. And of course, it goes without saying, if you are like a moderate, or if you are not a socialist, or if you are like a conservative, shocking, or, you know, any other kind of ideology that doesn't agree with socialism, of course, you're not included in the space. The whole point is you accommodate the people who are far left, and you accommodate the people who are the most extreme, basically.
They don't consent to, right? And there are right-wing infiltrators who are trying to get in here, but it's going to be really traumatic for people if we're not making an affirmative effort to de-escalate each other and de-escalate ourselves, right? Take a deep breath. And feel better before you say anything. Don't really talk to anybody who doesn't have a credential, especially if they claim to be from the press. You have no idea who that person is. Please do not talk to anybody who identifies themselves as a member of the press without having credentials. Don't talk to cops. Don't talk to MAGA assholes. We're almost there. Just but thank you.
See what I mean about the exclusion? So you're not allowed to talk to police. Well, you know what? A lot of people might need to talk to police at some point if there's a crime or if you think there's a dangerous situation. But of course, you can't talk to them because in the purity spiral, they have excluded the police. And he mentioned MAGA people, so anybody who, half the country, half of America, you can't talk to them. And, you know, you can't talk to anybody who claims to be, you know, from the press or from the media or whatever. So yeah, again, the only people you are allowed to talk to are the pure people, the socialist people. And again, this is kind of what I mean by a purity spiral. They're excluding groups. And this is the actual meaning of inclusion. Inclusion means exclusion. It's kind of weird, but yeah, that's exactly what they mean when they say diversity, which basically means non-white people. Equity, which basically means you need to take the labor of people who are productive and give it to the people who are not productive. And inclusion means you need to exclude anybody who kind of vaguely disagrees with you or who wears an offensive scent like, you know, aftershave.
We are going to be visited tomorrow by some MAGA protesters. Is there anybody here who's done abortion clinic escort work? By all means, don't talk to cops if there are cops there for any reason at all, right? And if you do see someone talking to cops, let the marshals know.
Oh my God, they've got marshals, God.
We are safe and we are strong because there's power in collective work.
So again, I feel really sorry for the host there, who, you know, kind of got yelled at and heckled. And okay, you could argue that this is kind of selective, you know. This is, you know, a 2-hour conference, 3-hour conference, and they've just chopped a few bits out. Okay, that's fair enough. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought I'd make that point about what exactly inclusion means. It just means exclusion. So I guess with that ends the video. Hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, have a good day.